The first time I saw Mandy, I called my manager.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like, help me stalk this director until he hires me. Cosmatos has the capacity to create more than anything a vibe, and essentially you are transported into Panos' world. When Panos comes to me and asks me to do this with Guillermo,
I haven't got an idea
don't
about those
even have to
Oreo
read,
cookies.
because Panos, he's got something to say. So cute. It's a period piece, 1979. There's four of us that are kind of like the titans of industry in our respective field. We all get invited to this eccentric billionaire's house. The production design is so imaginative and thorough and beautifully executed. Happy Halloween.
So indeed, that was the plot. There you got Eric Andre, Afro dude there. You got Peter Weller, and you got Sofia Boutella, who didn't do so well with Rebel Moon, but whatever. Yeah, this is like the last thing I could, the 2.5 things that Panos directed, and yeah, this was very good. Uh, I probably should watch the rest of these episodes and maybe do a volume 3 of reviews for Netflix. There's a couple of other things I want to look at. Not sure when Wednesday. The other two Netflix shows I'm looking forward to are Wednesday and One Piece. That's about it. I'm not looking forward to much more. So, yeah, it's basically as the plot, as he says, these, how many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. No, so you got 4 people, right? You got the girl, you got Eric Andre, you got some fat bastard with a beard, and you got some kind of a, I don't want to say punts, because that's sort of a derogatory word from the UK, but you can't touch cocaine. There's cocaine involved, there's alcohol, there's smoking, and all that stuff. I love the circular hallways, the circular rooms, and the long hallway. It's a big place set. Okay, so they're gonna view this weird rock that looks like something out of Alien or Aliens. Ridley Scott, and there's this demonic thing, and I think this is the first time that Panos Cosmatos uses CGI, because the movement of the antenna and some of the things that happen in there is like very CGI, but there's a lot of big practical things that are happening. The red alien coming out of the egg. I guess it's a big hatchling, and people are burning up to death. People are melting to death. Electricity. A lot of cool shit that's happening there. Just a lot of death metal type, heavy metal inspired deaths that are happening at the end of this. So yeah, 4 people go in, 2 people come out. And it's fun to watch. Even Sofia Boutella has this horrible death. I guess it's like what is it? Jabroni Mike says people love to watch movies, but they can't remember all the characters' names. They can remember the actors, maybe, and unless it's like Star Trek: The Next Generation or Spider-Man or Superman or the MCU, where you remember the character names because you've known those characters before. You don't really remember characters so much, except maybe Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. You remember the kids from the, like Veruca Salt or Charlie Bucket, or Sherlock Holmes, or stuff like that, Moriarty. You know those basic characters, but stuff like like the character. I don't remember the characters' names in this at all, but you know who's supposed to be in this. But it's like you see the orange and reds. You will see people in the same shot, but not very often. People are obscured into silhouettes. The lighting and shadow are very carefully placed when Peter Weller welcomes everyone in. Yeah. Peter Weller is sort of the basically he's invited the 4 people in for a viewing of this rare item, but first he has to get everybody fucked up on coke and alcohol and smoking. First, I mean, get everybody fucked up, okay? Because there's no way Panos Cosmatos is not having drugs in this movie. Is going to have it, I guess the only thing he hasn't introduced is ecstasy, no pills, right? There is suggestion of heroin, right? but no pills. I guess he hasn't gotten to that point. I guess he's waiting for that to be in his fantasy movie where in Necrogasm people take pills and they just go into some sort of weird world. You know, they've done everything but the pills, and yeah, so it's a really it's an only about 56 minutes, but what you're gonna get is it's great. It's basically like the Twilight Zone or Black Mirror or Stranger Things. You know, you're watching an episode that doesn't go beyond that episode. Rarely ever. It's about 8 episodes for this whole thing. I'll give a separate review for the Cabinet of Curiosities, with the viewing being a footnote. But the viewing is episode 7. Yeah, so you know, it's I would say that the setup is typical, but how everything turns out is psychedelic, and it's just so it's the way it ends, because you're focused on that circular living room, that sort of cylindrical living room. I mean, you're looking at the AK-47 that's plated in gold on the left in the circular light up display. You're looking at the circular couch, the circular table, uh, the circular hallway, and then the hallway that leads out into another circular room. There's a lot of circular things going on, a lot of cylinders. They escape. Two people escape and leave the big cabin. There's the long hedgeway. Kind of looks like The Shining. You know, in The Shining, there's that hedge maze, and then you see like you just walking. It's like you're walking on this hallway in between the hedge maze into the mansion, or I think it's within the mansion. See, in all these ones, whether it's the Beyond the Black Rainbow or Mandy, there's always this place you got to get out of, right? And it doesn't happen so much in Mandy. It does happen in the viewing, because the mansion where Peter Weller is the place you got to get out of. But I think Black Rainbow is probably the best of these three. Now we have yet to see Necrogasm. I don't know how much work he's doing on that. I don't know if there's a website where he's doing updates or showing pictures, or I don't think he's like Zack Snyder where he teases a bit. I guess what it is that it's the long build up. Just like in Black Rainbow, Beyond the Black Rainbow, it's just the long pauses of the doctor talking to the patient. Here, it's setting everybody up. You go into a van, you meet the guy, the driver, who uses the AK-47. Now, Peter Weller turns into this creature that you see. He turns into, what the fuck is this shit? This demonic thing, and it turns into a horror movie where the monster just kills people and shit. And, yeah, that's fun. That's a fun thing. And I guess maybe this is the prequel to the what is it? The Psycho Gorman. Who knows? That's going to be a separate thing I'll look at for another time. But for right now, I just wanted to kind of get these Cosmatos movies over with. But the devil was really cool. He electrocutes the guy, the driver, fries him to death, and just storms out. It's amazing. Yeah, there's a lot of things. But the buildup is the alcohol, the cigarettes, the cocaine. If Joey Diaz was there, he'd be like, that's not real cocaine. It's like, whatever. So let's give a score now. I'm going to give a score for this. Give it a solid A. I think it won't get an A+, only because it's kind of predictable, where you see the 4 people and they're going to the reading of the will, or they're going to something. Something's going to happen, right? When you see the 4 people, you know what's going to happen. You know that they're going to get theirs. You expect the 2 people at the end to get killed, but maybe they will. But meanwhile, you got the 2 people who escape, and then you got Peter Weller as demonic creature out on the loose in 1979, whatever city it is, Brooklyn. I don't know where they're at. So it does kind of feel like the Twilight Zone, where the 4 people go somewhere and they're going to go for this. They're all the girl's like a scientist, another one's a psychic, Another guy's an author, or he's been on talk shows because he's an author. Another person's, I don't know, there's writers, there's scientists there, teachers, and they're all going for some reason. You know, they're all going to get like bit. They're going to get like burned, okay, shot at because they're walking into a trap. So, but when you see the ending to it, I mean, it really, all this buildup, you know, there's going to be a payoff. So yeah, for that, I'm going to give it an A. And I don't know. Second Gorman will be later on, maybe in the weekend. As far as any new updates, if anything in the news shows up and it gets my attention, then I will be more than happy to talk about it. Till then.